Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 14 of Vlogmas. As with every day of Vlogmas so far, we're going to be reading another chapter in, this feels good, another chapter in the Gospel of Luke. I'm going to read from the NIV version of the Bible. If you don't have a physical copy of the Bible, you can follow along using a Bible app or whatever you got. It's really hot. Oh, I just hit myself. Hot tamale. I'm about to go to ice pack and y'all gonna think I look real cute. Told you, you don't think I look real cute. I can get my hair clipped, get all the hair off my neck. And this is how we're going to do the rest of this video. Otherwise, I might scream from being so hot. Okay. One Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There in front of him was a man suffering from abnormal swelling of his body. Jesus asked the Pharisees and the experts in the law, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not?" But they remained silent. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. He then asked them, "If one of you has a child or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath, will you not immediately pull it out?" And they had nothing to say. When he noticed how the guests picked the places of honor at the table, he told them this parable. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor, for a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. If so, the host will invite both of you to come and say to you, "Give this person your seat." Then, humiliated, you will have to take the least important seat. But when you are invited, take the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, "Friend, move up to a better place." Then you'll be honored in the presence of all other guests. For all of those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Verse 12. Then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or a dinner, do you not invite friends, your brothers, your sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors? If you do, they may invite you back, so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." Verse 15. When one of those at the table with him heard this, he said to Jesus, "Blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God." Jesus replied, "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.' But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, 'I have just bought a field, and I must go see it. Please excuse me.' Another said, 'I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I am on my way to try them out. Please excuse me.' Still another said, 'I just got married, so I can't come.' The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, 'Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' 'Sir,' said the servant, 'what you have ordered has been done, but there is still no room.' Then the master told his servant, 'Go out to the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get a taste of my banquet.'" The cost of being a disciple. We are at verse 25. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wives and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such person cannot be my disciple." I'm going to look that up on BibleRef.com. And this is what the NLT version of that verse says. "If you want to be my disciple," this is Jesus talking, "if you want to be my disciple, you must, by comparison, hate everyone else. Your father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even your own life. Otherwise, you cannot be my disciple. So, what this verse is saying, if you want to follow Jesus, he has to be like what your eyes on. He is the prize. You cannot follow Jesus and have other things weighing you down, right? Because if you're being weighed down, then you're not going to be able to keep up. I'm not exactly sure why I'm thinking of this, but this kind of brings me back to the tabernacle. So if you know anything about the tabernacle, you know that you had, I believe, is 3 parts. I might be forgetting one. All I can think of is 3, and everything I've looked at just says 3, but I feel like there's another one. But you have your outer court, your inner court, then your, like, the holiest of holies, which is where the Ark of the Covenant, the presence of God, that's where that was. With each of these, like, different segments of the tabernacle, you had a door, a gate, a something, and these gates and doors kept getting, like, smaller. They were getting, like, narrower. So as you kept going, you had to, like, shed pieces of yourself off to get closer. For example, think of the priests. They went in, they did their sacrifices for themselves and for the child's being Bob the Builder. They did their sacrifices to cleanse their sins as well as everyone else's sin. And then they went in a little bit further. They had to clean themselves, went in a little bit further. So they weren't allowed to bring the outside stuff in. And the closer that they got to God, the more they were having to shed, the less they were having to carry. I think the reason that this came to me, I'm trying to tie it back so it ain't just like a random piece of the video here. We were talking about how, to be a disciple of Christ, you couldn't be weighed down by anything. You couldn't be weighed down by your carnal knowledge because, you need to be just like fully focused on God. And I think the tabernacle piece, it shows that you need to like really humble yourself and to like strip yourself of like all these things that strip yourself of your titles or what you think your titles are, strip yourself of everything and just become humble, be a child. Everything you know, everything you think you are really just like getting rid of all the excess weight and you are humbling yourself to come into the presence of God. That is what it takes to be a follower of Christ. You can't act like you are high and mighty, like the Pharisees, for example. You can't act like you are high and mighty and that you are right here with God, Jesus, if not above. No, you have to humble yourself. He must become greater. You must become less. We're just going to that's just like the theme of these past, like, I don't know what video I'm doing. I know in real time I'm up to like Luke 18, but that just seems to be like that's the one verse that keeps coming out is, and he must become greater, I must become less, from John 30. Verse 27. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and was not able to finish. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he is not able, he will send a delegation, while the other is still a long way off, and ask for terms of peace. In the same way, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciples. So that verse kind of reiterates what we were saying with verse 26, saying that like you have to be willing to give up everything that you know and have known your entire life. You have to be willing to give it up. Verse 34. Salt is good, but if it loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is neither fit for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown out. Whoever has ears to hear, led them here. Alright, that is actually the end. I look crazy. That is actually the end of chapter 14. 14 and 15 were two of the shorter ones. I feel like we have a couple short ones coming up actually, but yeah, short and sweet today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow we will pick up with chapter 15 of Luke. So I'll see you later. Bye.